The joyful mystery of Easter is so great it cannot be contained in a single day. Therefore, the Church's celebration of Easter lasts for 50 days, culminating in the Feast of Pentecost. During the 50 days of Easter, it is the tradition of the Church to read aloud the Acts of the Apostles.
Spirit, Maranatha.
Join us as we enter into this ancient practice together, reading a short portion of Acts each day for 50 days.
Maranatha, venne Spiritu.
But first take a moment, light a candle, take a breath, and pray for the coming of the Holy Spirit.
Spiritu Maranatha, venne 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 Spiritu Maranatha. Come now, Spirit Maranatha. Come now, Spirit Maranatha. Come now, Spirit Maranatha. Come now, Spirit Maranatha.
Hear a reading from the Acts of the Apostles. Three days after Festus had arrived in the province, he went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem, where the chief priests and the leaders of the Jews gave him a report against Paul. They appealed to him and requested as a favor to them against Paul to have him transferred to Jerusalem. They were, in fact, planning an ambush to kill him along the way. Festus replied that Paul was being kept at Caesarea and that he himself intended to go there shortly. So, he said, let those of you who have the authority come down with me, and if there is anything wrong about the man, let them accuse him.
After he had stayed among them for not more than 8 or 10 days, he went down to Caesarea. The next day he took his seat on the tribunal and ordered Paul to be brought. When he arrived, the Jews who had gone down from Jerusalem surrounded him, bringing many serious charges against him, which they could not prove. Paul said in his defense, I have in no way committed an offense against the law of the Jews, or against the temple, or against the emperor. But Festus, wishing to do the Jews a favor, asked Paul, do you wish to go up to Jerusalem and be tried there before me on these charges? Paul said, I'm appealing to the emperor's tribunal. This is where I should be tried. I have done no wrong to the Jews, as you very well know. Now, if I'm in the wrong and have committed something for which I deserve to die, I'm not trying to escape death. But if there is nothing to their charges against me, no one can turn me over to them. I appeal to the emperor. Then Festus, after he had conferred with his council, replied, you have appealed to the emperor you will go.
After several days had passed, King Agrippa and Bernice arrived in Caesarea to welcome Festus. Since they were staying there for several days, Festus laid Paul's case before the king, saying, there is a man here who was left in prison by Felix. And when I was in Jerusalem, the chief priest and the elders of the Jews informed me about him and asked for a sentence against him. I told them that I was not the custom of the Romans to hand over anyone before the accused had met with the accuser face to face and had been given an opportunity to make a defense against his charge. So when they met here, I lost no time, but on the next day took my seat on the tribunal and ordered the man to be brought. When the accusers stood up, they did not charge him with any of the crimes that I was expecting. Instead, they had certain points of disagreement with him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus who had died, but whom Paul asserted to be alive. Since I was at the loss of how to investigate these questions, I asked whether he wished to go to Jerusalem and be tried there on these charges. But Paul had appealed to be kept in custody for the decision of his imperial majesty. I ordered him to be held until I could send him to the emperor. Agrippa said to Festus, I would like to hear this man myself tomorrow. He said, you will hear him.
I wonder what words or phrases, images, actions, or characters stand out for you. What questions do you have? What do you notice? What do you wonder? What part of this reading is especially for you? Hear what the Spirit is saying to God's people.
Thanks be to God.
Maranatha, come now, Spirit, Maranatha, come now, Spirit, Maranatha.